Hi everybody, it's Gary.
And Dane, welcome to the bars class. You're going to learn some really cool stuff today.
It's going to be fun, I hope.
And we wore our brightest shirts so you can stay awake.
Yeah, because God knows you want to go to sleep. But the good news is, even if you go to sleep with Access, it still works. The worst person who ever came to Access who could not feel energy was me. The first 6 months I would do bars and I'd have to ask the person, how's that feeling to you? And when they would say, well, if you pull any harder, you're going to pull me out of my body, I knew I was doing it. Otherwise, I had no clue. So just know, no matter how bad you think you are, nobody has ever been worse than me. So if I can do it, so can you.
And I'm the second worst person who ever came to Access. It literally took me 6 months to know whether anything was happening or not. Meanwhile, people are having these massive changes after a bar session, and I was like, oh, awesome, cool, okay. So please note, it's not about getting this right now. It's not about feeling it right now. It really is about learning these points and then practicing and practicing
and practicing
and practicing. The greatest way to get great at bars is by running bars.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, darn it, there's no way around it. So we have a request of you. Will you do us a favor? Will you run at least 25 bar sessions before you judge you for not getting it right?
And by the way, people will come to you. It's like I had one lady who came to me and she did 3 bar sessions with me. And the 4th time she came in, I thought, oh God, I'm not getting any result with this lady. And she said, well, I just have to tell you something, okay? So it's like after the first bar session, the pain that I've had in my feet for 10 years went away. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't tell you because I figured it might come back. And it hasn't. And now it seems to be gone permanently. And she was saying, thank you so much, and I'm so grateful, and I'm so amazed by what bars can do. I personally am amazed by what bars can do because I'm never certain, because the person who's receiving the bars is the one who determines what happens for him.
Yes, and some of you may know this, but 18 years ago, I was at a place where I was going to end my life if things didn't change. And literally, I went and I had 1 bar session, and it gave me such a sense of space and relief and peace and access to that joy that I had been missing for years, that I never contemplated killing myself again. And so for me, and I'm not saying that happens for everybody, okay? So please don't make that assumption. But what can occur for people is phenomenal. And realize also, though, a lot of the things you're going to change for people, they're not going to tell you about, or they won't tell you about until much, 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 much later.
I've had people who told me 25 years later what they got.
Exactly. So please know that can also happen. And now you hear something, you hear about a major change like that, like it literally saving somebody's life. And you're like, well, okay, how do I do it? You just do it.
You just do the bars.
Run the bars. That's it. And run it without a point of view other than that of gifting to the person and also allowing them to receive.
And the really bad thing about bars is what you relieve in them, you also, if you have something similar, it releases in you. You get a session, you give a session, and you get paid. How does it get any better than that?
How does it get any better than that? So we're very excited to have you here. Thank you for exploring this wonderful world of bars and access consciousness. And by the way, we have about 8,000 other tools. You're going to learn the clearing statement today in class and start using that in just on anything you can. Just play with it. What we would ask of you is to play.
Yeah.
Just play. And don't make it significant, don't make it serious, because when you do, we know how that turns out. It's not fun for anybody, especially you. Just play, and just tell your friends, hey, I learned this new thing, can I try it on you? And just play. Yeah. And with the clearing statement, just see where you can use it in your life. You'll get some processes from your facilitator, but expand that. See what else you might want to use it on, and just try it. It'll either work or it won't.
If it doesn't work, don't do it. What the hell?
And if it doesn't work, maybe something else is required. Yeah. And realize that, but it can't hurt. And this is one of the other wonderful things about Access is it can't hurt. The worst that can happen...
Nobody has ever gotten worse by having their bars.
That is true.
Nobody.
Nobody has ever gotten worse. So realize that you can't hurt somebody with this. The only thing that can happen is things get better. And at the worst,
You'll feel like you had a great massage. Best case scenario, your whole life can change.
Yes, I'm living proof of that one. And actually,
Welcome to the bars.
thousands of people around the world are. Welcome to the bars. Have too much fun today. And remember, what's true for you always makes you lighter. A lie always makes you heavier. So start choosing what creates more lightness in your life. And that's what you'll start to create as your life.
Have fun.
Bye-bye.
So you put your hand at the back of the head in order to start the power band. Then you're going to take energy and pull it through their feet, through their body, into your fingers, and up and out the top of your head. This opens the energy flows in the body.
Also realize that your hand is, notice how Gary's hand is on the back of my head. It's not on my neck. There are no bars on the neck, including the power band. There are certain people who like to cradle your neck while they do this. That's not where the power band is located.
Yes. And the idea is to activate the power band so you start accessing the power of everything that you have and are. Once you have that energy flow, you go down to the feet and you put your fingers in the ball of the feet, which is right here. See, there's that little round thing there and that little round thing there. That's the ball of the foot. You put your fingers in there and you pull energy down through the person's head, through their body, into their feet, into your hands, and up and out the top of your head. Okay. Then you go to the hands and you put your finger in the soft spot in the middle of the hand, and they put yours in, they put their middle finger in yours, and you pull energy down through their head, into their arms, and into their hands, and into your hands, and up and out the top of your head. That opens all the energy flows in the body. Do you feel that, Dane?
I feel it.
Okay, good. He's got feeling, he's got feeling. He's
feel
not
it.
dead.
I feel it.
You're not dead.
I'm not dead.
So another way to do the energy pull, from the hands is to do this. And you can pull the energy through their head, into their arms, and up and out the top of your head. That also will open up the energy flows. For some people that's easier, and if you're lying on a bed doing it, it's possible. And you can do the energy flow to the feet. You can do that from the head by pushing the energy down rather than pulling it. Okay, once you have the energies running in the person's body, and you put your hands in the implant band. Now to find the implant band, basically it's the shape of the ears. You use these 3 fingers and you go down until you feel it go into a little slot. It's right there. That proves that everybody's a slot.
Rather than a sloth?
Rather than a sloth, or
Yes.
rather than a slut.
Aha. And the other thing about that is you go over a little ridge into this little valley, and it's almost like the body, the head was made so that you could find these bars.
Yes, your head is basically a bowling ball that your fingers know where to go. So then, it's like once the person loses their head totally, you can play you can go bowling with it. No, kidding. For most people, the implant band, for Dane, it can run for 6 hours. For other people, it runs for usually about 20 to 30 minutes. 20 minutes usually. Okay? So the next bars you want to run are money, control, and creativity. Now to get those, you go up from the place where the ear connects here, you go up 3 fingers basically, and that puts you right here, and it's 3 fingers back. And the fingers happen to be shaped correctly for this position. I wonder if fingers were created for this purpose.
Now we know why the middle finger is longer.
That's right. Before you thought the middle finger should be the same length, except for when you want to flip people off, and then it needs to be longer in order for them to really get it.
Exactly. So these 3 bars are money, control, and creativity.
Money, control, creativity.
And you want to be aware of that because in the next bars we're going to go to, we're going to use the position we're in right now, and move our fingers slightly to run the next set of bars.
And the next set of bars is what, Dane?
creativity, creating connections, and creating life forms.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to do that.
We call them the
Okay.
three creates.
The three creates.
And what you want to realize about the bars is the bars will affect whatever the bar is. In other words, so we're running money, control, and creativity right now. And so the bars get rid of all of your considerations about whatever that particular bar is. So all of your considerations about money, what it means to have it,
Well, it's
whether it's
the
difficult or
thoughts,
easy.
the feelings, the emotions, and the considerations that you have about any of that. And I was working with some people this morning, and it's like they had all of these energetic judgments in their world about stuff. Well, these are also energetic more than cognitive, which is why you haven't been able to handle them from the point of view of a psychological reality. Okay?
And realize that most of the judgments you have that limit you, so many of them are energetic. They're not actually cognitive. You can't really put words to them, but they're energies that stick you. And this is where the bars changes things that nothing
Right.
else does.
The bad news about the bars is if you run your bars on your teenagers, for 3.5 weeks, you get quiet. They're not as obnoxious as they have been.
There'll be a sense of almost peace in your house, perhaps, for 3.5 weeks.
You'll have 3.5 weeks of no anger, upset, and intrigue, which is normal, normal teenage reality. And the other thing is, if you run their bars, they tend to get better grades in school because they get rid of all the considerations about what they can't do and become aware of what they are aware of.
Creativity, creating connections, and creating life forms.
Yeah.
See, now Gary knows how to run bars. That
Really
would
well.
that would be an understatement.
But I've lost the ability to remember what they are. So I just do them. I don't think about them.
So in contrast to so many things you may have learned, it's not about remembering it cognitively per se.
And it's not about intention. It's about allowance of that to dissipate. Because what you're doing here is creating a connection that allows the electrical charge of thoughts, feelings, emotions, sex or no sex, to actually dissipate in and of their own. Now, the reason we do thoughts, feelings, emotions, sex or no sex is because you as an infinite being can perceive, know, be, and receive. As a finite being, as a human, quote unquote, you have thoughts, feelings, emotions, and sex or no sex. And these are the things that lock us up so dynamically, and we don't even realize it.
And that's what the bars dissipates. And
It
once
gets rid of cranky, too.
Boy, it really gets rid of cranky. Gary and I have a long-standing agreement that when one of us is cranky and we can't seem to get over it within a few minutes using other access tools, the other one will
Bars.
say to them, "Can I run your bars,
Please,
please?"
before you snap my head off.
It's phenomenal in relationship, and friendships of all sorts. It creates a space where that cranky that exists for most people doesn't have to exist for you.
Yeah,
They're awesome.
they are. The next thing we're going to go to is the aging toaster. Now, why is it called a toaster? Because it actually goes down into your head. And it's like we used to say, if you can't figure it out, ask for a yellow light that'll do it. It's cooking your toast. But it's funny because it's right here in the middle of the head. It's like it comes up here, down here, up here, aging toaster. Okay?
So it's in line with the inside of the eyes and the middle of the ear.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it's more toward the front of the head. It's actually back more than most people think. And the distance that you're going to be is just about an inch or so.
3/4 of an inch.
3/4 of an inch. And you can run them. Notice how Gary is using the nail beds. That's a really easy way to do it when you're on a table like this, because you just go boom, right there. Really simple to do. If somebody is seated,
And you can keep
you can do
all
it like
your,
this.
you can keep all your stuff, all your fingers in a line with great ease.
Keep all your stuff in a line.
Keep your stuff in a line.
Stop
so
letting
that-
your stuff get out of line.
don't let your stuff exude.
Exactly.
Okay. So the aging toaster, the one thing about it is what it does is it starts to, we have all these consideration about what it means to age. It's like you can't do that because you're not old enough. You can't do that because you're not big enough. You can't do that because of blah, blah, blah. And there's all these reasons and justifications for what you can't do and what you can do. You know, it's like, and you're not supposed to have sex until you're 18, and then it's supposed to be perfect. But you've been told not to touch yourself since you were 8, so then when somebody touches you, you have to feel guilty about it. All that does is make it impossible to actually have the joy of your body. So this will start to unlock a lot of that.
And the other considerations, of course, are what happens as you get older. You know, you start seeing wrinkles, and then because you start focusing on the wrinkles, you start getting more wrinkles. And then you have so many points of view about what has to happen as you age.
Yeah.
Those considerations start to go away.
And if you don't believe it, look at my face. Talk about considerations. I got considerations written all over my face.
You're very considerate.
Which makes me old as God.
Oh, maybe that's what you've been headed for.
That's what I've been headed for.
You're going to be old as God.
Exactly. And
And
all
a
that
voice.
is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyond.
That was a clearing statement. And a voice boomed down from the clouds, and it was Gary. Huh. That'd be awesome. If you were God, it would be a totally different world.
It would be.
Yeah.
You know, but I've always known that if I was God, it'd be a different world, because I would never let the kind of shit occur that occurs here.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like, unfortunately, I think most humanoids have that point of view. If I were God, this would not be this way. Unfortunately, we aren't God, that is. But, hey, whatever.
The next set of bars that Gary's running right now are form and structure, hopes and dreams, awareness, control, and the bridging bar.
And what the bridging bar does is it bridges all the considerations of bodies, sexuality, and aging.
So everywhere those intersect,
Yeah.
your considerations about those start to go away.
Yeah.
Now, in this particular set, like Gary's hands are made for it. It's like almost like what he was born to do.
It is what I was born to do.
For some of you, you may find that it's difficult to do
If you have
all
little
5.
hands, if you have little hands, it's going to be harder.
Especially if you have little hands on a big head. So you need to find a workaround for it, which maybe you just do form and structure, hopes and dreams, and the bridging
these
bar.
two,
Yeah.
and the bridging bar, or you do these two and the bridging bar. Okay?
So feel free to
Do it according to your hands.
do it according to your hands, and just make sure you do it.
Yeah.
Because every one of these bars plays a role in you getting more aware, you getting more conscious, and getting rid of the considerations that are running your life. And if we've noticed one thing, it tends to be the one bar that, well, there's 2 bars that people will miss. One of them is awareness, which is really funny because if you had total awareness, you would have no limitation in anything. And then the other is kindness, gratitude, peace, and calm, which we're going to get to later.
Joy and sadness, healing, body and sexuality. Now, joy and sadness are right above the eyes. Now, there was an article in the New York Times in 1996 talking about how they had induced several hours of happiness or sadness depending on whether they put an electrode over the right eyebrow or left eyebrow. And that's exactly where we do joy and sadness. But because we run them at the same time, instead of inducing happiness or unhappiness, it eliminates the unhappiness and allows the happiness to show up. So, joy and sadness.
I'm getting happy. Okay. Stop it.
Stop beating me to death. Healing, which is right in the middle of the, what's that thing called? Temple. The temple.
A temple.
The temple. It's your temple of greatness.
Yes.
And then the body and sexuality are right over the middle eyes and right in line with the middle of your ear.
When he said the middle eyes, what he meant was the middle of your eyes.
Oh, yeah.
If you
mean
don't
you
happen
don't
to be
have
a
a middle eye?
cyclops or... See, in joy and sadness, when you run them together like Gary is talking about, what happens is you undo the considerations that create the sadness that keep you from joy, because joy is actually your natural state, whether you know it yet or not.
And you may never get to know it, like some people. And some people, it may take you 10 or 15 years to get there, but you'll get there.
Yep.
Sorry.
Keep doing it. You'll get there. Actually, as with all of this with bars, just keep doing it. The greatest way to get great at bars is by doing more bars. There really is no substitute for doing it.
And the greatest way to get the world in better shape is to do bars.
Yes.
Because the bars unlock, every time you unlock your consideration that you sold to somebody else, they get free of it too. So it's like, we say that basically you run somebody's bars and 3,500 to 35,000 people get free of it. And sometimes as much as 350,000 people, depending on what kind of connector you are. Okay, all right, so the next set of bars, since Dane mentioned it, you go to the middle of the ear and you go back three notches, and that puts you...
3 fingers.
3 fingers, sorry.
Or notches. If you
Whatever
have notches for fingers.
If you have notches for fingers.
okay.
If you have nachos for fingers, then you have seriously a lot of cheese on your fingers, and you should lick them.
No, that's nachos.
Oh, that's nachos. Okay,
Nachos,
sorry.
yeah.
All right, so...
You know, I was walking through the supermarket the other day,
Yeah.
and I'm pushing along, and I got, I got cheddar cheese. I got all kinds of cheeses because we were having
Yeah.
a party. And this guy runs up and he goes, "That's nacho cheese!" And I was like, "Yeah, it is. I'm buying it." Anyway, forget it.
Nacho cheese, not your cheese. Okay, got it. Okay.
So this next set of
next
bars is kindness, gratitude, peace, and calm.
kindness, gratitude, peace, and calm. You know, it's like these are the bars that I can personally never remember. Why? Because I don't believe that peace, calm, kindness, and gratitude is real. No. It's actually because it's the one thing I desire most in life. One of the things I noticed in running people's bars, that if you start hitting time and space, communication, and all that kind of stuff, all of a sudden they'll start talking about how time or about communication. And it's like they start talking about the subject of that's in the bar you're running, which is most amusing because it gets hotter the more they talk about it. And then all of a sudden it'll go quiet because they've gotten all the considerations out of the way that they have at that moment.
And I have to say, right now, while you're running this, there's this amazing sense of peace and calm, and that sweetness that exists with kindness and gratitude.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Gratitude is one of the greatest gifts we have and one of the least used gifts there is. Okay, so one of the things that happens is if somebody crosses their hands or puts their hands together, what happens is that stops the bar.
Bad receiver.
Yeah, it's like because that short circuits what the bar is doing. So if your person is doing that, or if they put their fingers towards each other like that, that will stop the bars as well. So be aware, it'll always check when you think the bars are not running to see if they are touching their hands. Now when they're under blankets, they do it a lot because they'll try to be sneaky.
Yes.
So don't trust them.
That's right. And if you see a big bump under a blanket like this,
yeah,
you want to go, "Are you touching your hands together?" And they go, "Oh."
No, I wasn't. I swear to God, I wasn't.
Because that is the one don't with bars.
Yeah.
We don't have many don'ts in Access, but it's the one that will actually stop the energy of the bars. Now, people can cross their feet, that's fine, but not their hands. And the reason why putting your hands like this is the same as crossing your hands, because your energetic fingers are about that long. So
actually, some of them are as much as 3 feet long.
That is true. I was trying to go, they're already going to go, "What do you mean? Your energetic fingers are," no. Yeah. So when you put your hands like this, if you do it like that, you're still crossing your hands.
And you're still short-circuiting the bars in that process. You're not actually getting them complete. The other thing is, don't play music while you're running bars. Music tends to turn certain bars off. That's the reason music is so popular. And it's like certain things make your bars stop running, which get rid of people's having considerations about certain things. So you got to be in that place where you're willing to have whatever point of view it is that's going to work.
And so when somebody's playing music, it deactivates temporarily certain considerations, so the bars can't let them go. So you actually get a less effective bar session if you play music. Watching television, on the other hand,
will activate the suckers like crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, watch a movie they don't like, or watch something wonderful like Criminal Minds.
Oof.
Talk about something that will make the bars run for years. Yeah. That's one of the things.
And like for me, one of the things I've always had a trouble with is, body mutilation of any kind, piercing or that sort of thing. So there were times where Gary and I, while running bars, we would watch TV and one of those programs would come on and Gary wasn't necessarily watching, go, what just happened? I'm like, what do you mean? He's all, your bars just heated up like crazy. I said, well, there was just this lady shooting up and
So it's like it doesn't matter what it is. Any kind of mutilation makes his bars run hotter and stronger and longer.
And the interesting thing about it is, and you may notice this also, that when you have your bars run, while something is like that, something you have this aversion to that it just seems like it's innate to you, it gets easier to be an allowance of whatever that is. So at this point, I can watch certain things that I could never watch before without literally having to throw up, which, is progress.
Okay, so it's like your fingers make this kind of sign. That's the peace sign, but it's also the place where you find how to get these front two bars, okay? See, if you put your fingers like this, okay, this is the line you want to follow to get these next two bars.
Which are time and space and communication.
Yes, time and space and communication. Not that they ever run very hot on anybody.
Whew.
I noticed that when I ran Dane's bars, after I hired him to make phone calls, which he never made, it's like his bars ran really hot.
Especially on communication.
Yes.
And
time and space, because it took too much time and too much space to do communication.
And so the considerations you have about time and space are what create time for you as something that limits you. So
and it requires you then to take longer to do things than you actually need.
Which is something I used to do all the time. It was like things would take 3 times as long as they had to, but I thought it had to take that long. And remember, your point of view creates your reality. So part of what's happening is your limited points of view are going away with the considerations that you release.
Maybe we should run this and talk about you packing.
This is a really good idea. See, I've been packing because I've been traveling a lot for the last, 15 years. Packing always takes longer than it ever should. And my reason and justification is when I was a kid, I was between homes. And so I always, I would go and not have something that I wanted.
Oh my God.
What?
When you said the reason and justification was because these things heated up unbelievably.
Wow.
We have to talk about your reasons and justification.
Yes.
And maybe you'll be able to pack quicker.
That'd be awesome.
That would be great, yeah.
I'm willing. See, one of the things you find with access, because, if this is your first bars class or your first learning bars, this is such an amazing introduction and something that you can use to truly change a lot of the stuff that's keeping people heavy, limited in their lives. And then also we have these amazing other tools that are beyond that, where you can talk to somebody about what's going on for them and use a clearing statement to change it. And we have all these different ways of doing this. So this thing about reasons and justifications Gary and I just got to is something we're going to be exploring regarding me and packing currently. But it's also interesting because one of the things that happens is, like, this packing thing has been a thorn in my side literally for almost 2 decades now. Actually, no, it's been my whole life, because it started when I was a tiny kid.
Yeah.
And one of the things that happens for a lot of people is when they have something like that, they feel like they're bad or wrong for having it, so they won't even talk about it. And one of the things that I've learned over many years is anything that you can talk about, anything you're willing to be vulnerable with and bring up can start to change. It's only what we hide that can't change. So even if it's really tough for you to bring something up, please have the kindness to you and have the courage that you have to be able to talk about it, because then it can be changed.
Yeah, and choose always, okay? Because that's the greatest way to change anything, is your choice.
Yep.
Okay, so the next thing we want to do is restructuring. Now, restructuring is done from, what is this bar?
Time and space.
Time and space, and back to the power band. Okay?
And
then
reactivation and recreation.
Reactivation and recreation, which are in line with the outside edge of the eye and the middle of the ear. And that's restructuring. And what this does is it takes away all the considerations that would bring back everything you just let go of. So this is a way to make sure you don't get any of that stuff back that you've just let go of.
And that can be really helpful if you do any type of healing work, energy work, to do that at the end of a session. I had a session, I worked on a lady one time, and she was about 76, and she laid down on the table. She was going to go in for a hip surgery, and she laid down on the table, and one hip was about 4 inches higher than the other. And after our hour-long session, the hips were totally even, and she bounded down the stairs, and she was so happy, and everything was moving. And I made the mistake of saying to her, wow, maybe you should check with the doctors to see if you still need to have the surgery. Within 2 steps, she had recreated the problem, because she was committed to having the surgery, and she was committed to that was the only way she could change it, even though we had just changed it.
And she was committed to the doctors. And it's like the thing is, what we do is we make commitments to all kinds of people. You know, whether it's our doctors, our lawyers, our Indian chiefs, or whether it's our guru, or whether it's our husband or wife or children, whatever it is, we make considerations, all kinds of considerations to make things happen in particular ways. So we have to be in that place where we function from a slightly different point of view.
Now, had I done restructuring, I don't know that it would have changed it.
Might have changed
But it would have had far less chance of her recreating what we had just let go of, and that's what these bars do.
The next thing you do is called the circle of manifestation. It's right here at the back of the head, as though you were putting a yarmulke on your head. Now, in the olden days, I was told, and I can't verify this because everybody tells me I'm wrong, but I was told that they used to put a gold thread in the yarmulkes to go around the base of it so that you would actually manifest gold in your life.
So they would activate the circle of manifestation with that gold thread.
And if you sort of see it as running around to the right, a circle going to the right, and it will have a really great effect on making you allow things to show up in your life.
Yeah, manifestation is how things show up, not that they show up.
Yeah.
Actualization is that they show up. So this also gets rid of the considerations about how things show up in your life, how they have to show up, in what ways they can show up and
or what
can't.
they're supposed to do to show up.
Yes. It, like all other bars, is awesome.
So don't get them done.
Don't do it.
And don't do bars.
Yeah.
I had one man who said to me, he said, I spent 16 years of my life in caves doing meditations, and every time I came out and saw the rest of the world, I just wanted to go back in the cave, and nothing ever got better. But since I've been running bars every day, my life has been a constant state of meditation. So just recognize. And he says, why don't you make everybody run the bars all the time? I said, I can make anybody do anything? Good luck. Okay, so to finish off your session, you're going to do the crown of Mistar. It's supposed to be spelled M-I-S-T-A-R, but somebody spelled it as M-Y-S-T-A-R, and since then everybody's called it MyStar instead of Mistar. It's about unlocking the mysteries of the universe. And what you do is you put your hands over the person's head and you start to pull their energy up, just as you did when you did the energy pull, until that opens up, and you can feel yours open at the same time. And then you're going to go to the tunnels of time and space. And the tunnels are right here above sadness and joy, right here. And you put your fingers on there and then pull up and open them up until you feel yours open as well. And then you will be done. And that is a bar session.
A couple of other things that you want to know is notice how quickly the crown of Mistar and the tunnels of time and space were done. That's how quickly you want to do them. Some people sit and try to hold there for 5 minutes, and 5 minutes, it doesn't require that. And then
it's just to get them open. It doesn't mean you have to continually keep there.
And the other thing is with the energy pulls that you do at the beginning, Those are quick also. They don't
It can
take-
be.
Yeah.
Very few of them require lots of time. But some people like to do it because it makes them feel dizzy.
Yeah. And this is the other thing is you want to realize the bars and how you do them are going to be depending on the person. In other words, how long you stay in a particular area is going to be depending on the person.
Now, if somebody walks up and goes like this and says, I'm running all your bars, run
No, you're
away.
not. Yes.
You know, that's not running the bars. First of all, bodies need to be touched in order to learn how to receive. And it's like, until we are willing to touch the body and let the receiving occur, no receiving can occur. So please be aware that the purpose of this is multiple. Number one, we want you to receive more. Number two, we want you to receive more. Number three, we want you to receive more. And number four, in order to receive, you're going to have to be touched. Okay, everybody, so now you've had an experience of the bars.
And so did I. Thank you.
And you'll get to practice and you'll get to learn how to do this. And it's like, we'd like you to have fun with it. The purpose of Access is to create more consciousness in the world so that the world survives the anti-consciousness and unconsciousness of the majority of the people on the planet.
And running bars is one of the greatest ways to create it. Also one of the easiest and also one of the most fun.
And one of the quickest.
And remember, the more fun you're having, the more conscious you're being. The lighter you are, the happier you are, the greater gift you are to this
The
world.
greatest gift you can give the planet is your laughter. So feel free to laugh.
Please laugh more, enjoy more. You'll change more.
Thanks, everybody.
Look forward to meeting you in person someday. Bye.
Bye. Okay, that needs to be deleted. Just turn your head to the side a little bit.
Can you do that without it sounding like, can you take your clothes off, please?
But I like it when it sounds like that.
Just turn your head to the side a little bit.
Can you turn your side to the head? Don't move, Dane. Don't move. And how long do you want me to stay on this?
About an hour.
6 hours? Okay, got it. So this is going to be way more fun than the old version.
Consciousness is serious work.